Hello everybody and welcome back to QuipScope. It's the show where we talk about a game that is coming out or has just come out. My name is Ben.
And my name is Ashton.
Ashton, what have you been playing?
So today, Ben, I have played some Nintendo Switch Sports. Like Wii Sports, but new.
Okay.
I played about 45 minutes. And then you played with me for about 15-ish minutes.
And that is enough easily to get round all of the games.
I've done everything in the game, except one thing, but I've pretty much done everything.
Okay.
So
it's been a long time since Wii Sports launched, obviously. That was a launch game alongside the Wii, and it was bundled in, and everybody has fond memories of Wii Sports.
Everybody
even if
loves Wii Sports.
It didn't really work at all because the Wiimote wasn't particularly responsive when it should have been, but it was still great fun. I think it's mad that we've waited this long for something like it on the Switch. How does this compare? And, you know, we did actually play, I was going to say, nostalgia's going to play a big factor in this, but actually we played Wii Sports not that long ago, like a few weeks ago.
Went to one of the lads' houses, we just whacked out Wii bowling.
Played bowling, did a bit of tennis.
Yeah.
So how does this compare, do you think?
I think, like, it's obviously it looks very pretty. Everyone looks like a Pokemon gym trainer.
Yes, they do, yeah.
The sports are kind of a weird selection of sports. Obviously, in Wii Sports, you had bowling, tennis, baseball, golf, and boxing. Yeah. Whereas now, you have tennis is still there, bowling is still there. Yeah. But you now have football, volleyball, badminton, and... Swords, kind of swords.
It's got a
not
name
quite fencing.
That I can't quite remember the name of.
No, it begins with a C.
You're stood on top of like a podium, and there's like a swimming pool around you, and you have to block and then hit and try and knock the other person off. That one was pretty fun, actually.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, we just swung our arms around quite a lot. To be fair.
And
what was the name of it?
You could do that, to be fair, in Wii Sports as well, to an extent. With a lot of the racket-based games, you could just sort of waggle the Wiimote around, and we did that with the Joy-Con in badminton. And that brings us on to our next point, that potentially this game is incredibly easy.
Chambera.
That's
what it's called.
There we are, Chambera.
Yeah, it's really easy. I think Wii Sports was harder, which again might be because of the janky controls, potentially. Yeah. But when I was doing bowling, I played the whole game sat down. I didn't stand up once. I barely moved my arm. I could just flick my wrist when I was playing it, and it would go dead straight and like take down as many pins as it did. The only time I ever got any like slight curve on the ball was when I hit my controller on a cushion as I went forward, and it curved it to the left slightly.
And equally in tennis as well, when we played a game of that, or badminton, I should say, the only time you missed a shot of mine was either because the game decided, hey, I'm doing a really fast shot, which seemed to be at random most of the time, or more frequently, the only time you had dropped points was because the Joy-Con just didn't respond to your swing, so you just stood there and it fell down next to you. Yeah. So it being easy and accessible is not a bad thing, but it does play into perhaps a larger conversation about the staying power of this game. And once you've brought it out for half an hour with some friends over, are you going to keep playing it? Because the Wii version at least had that sort of skill a graph that went up. You know, you got 250 points on your skill graph with bowling or whatever. That doesn't seem to be the case here, though, does it?
No. I think that like there's a lot about it that's good. Like I say, it's accessible. Most of the sports are relatively interesting. I mean, badminton and tennis are very similar in the way they play. So much so you don't even get a tutorial, which you do for all the other games. Football's like Rocket League, but you're walking around. And you can like hit up or like to kick it in the air. You can kick it left and right. You can swing both of the Joy-Cons down, and you do like you fly through the air and headbutt the ball, that kind of thing.
Header.
Well, it's not. It's called,
so this is soccer.
But it's not.
By the way, for American viewers, when we say football, it is actually called football in the game. Yeah. And it does mean soccer.
It's called like a diving headbutt. in the game, and you don't. It's not like your character just heads it. Your character like full like body
torpedoes
like, flies through the air and hits the ball. And then volleyball was. I didn't understand how to play volleyball, but I did skip the tutorial because we were doing something else. But the sports are relatively interesting.
Yeah.
If you liked Wii Sports for like the sports, you probably will like it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. We're being a little critical, perhaps a little too critical, because it's almost certainly designed to just be a really easy pick up and play game.
Yeah. But then there is a couple of things that like are obviously very different. So when you start the game, you have your character that you can make. So you can customize them with different hair or costumes or whatever. However, you can't really. When you start the game, you have 6 hairstyles, 3 boy ones, 3 girl ones. Only one of these hairs is probably like a black hairstyle, and that's one of the men's hairs. There's no like black female hairstyles, for example.
Right.
In the initial 6, you get like some freckles, some blush, black chin strap beard.
Yeah.
And you can change your hair to different colours, and then there's about 7 or 8 different outfits you can pick from. They're all just different colours of the same outfit. And I was like, okay, that whatever, that's not a lot.
You couldn't do much with the Mii's in Wii Sports.
That's not a lot of range, but obviously with the Mii's you can customize everything. Now you can.
Oh, that's true. As far as the outfits go, I meant with the Mii's, you just change the colour of your t-shirt.
Or alternatively, if you've got a Mii stored in your Switch, you can port that Mii into their like this body. So I obviously made a Matt.
Yeah.
Because it was
He's
important.
the king of Wii Sports.
And you can kind of like just select him, and it will just basically put his head on one of their bodies from the game. And then they look ridiculous because obviously all these other characters are like these little anime kids, and you've just got a Mii, but I loved it anyway. But in order to unlock more hairstyles and outfits and stuff, you have to play online. So there's 3 different modes. There's online mode, there's local mode between 1 to 4 players, and then there's online with friends mode. In the online with friends mode and the local mode, you don't earn any points to like level up and be able to unlock new stuff. You have to either play in the online mode, which luckily, and I will say this is a good thing that they've done, you can obviously play online if you've got Nintendo Online. However, you can play in trial mode, which is basically if you haven't got online but you want to unlock stuff, you can still pretend to play online, so it will just give you CPUs and stuff, and you do still unlock stuff, which is good, because if it was just going to be you can only unlock it with you've got online, I would have been like, that's rubbish.
Yeah, and trial mode is kind of confusingly named because it makes it sound like you have a limited trial of online, but that's not it.
I don't think so, no.
You play the equivalent of what online would be, but it's just AI. And you can go in there with one friend, one local friend, and so you can grind to earn outfits and unlocks and stuff that way. But it's a shame that stuff is separated from offline play, which I feel like a lot of people will probably use it that way. I'd have thought.
I would have thought so too. Also, another couple of things that I think are weird. Football, you have to play with 2 hands. You can't play that with 1 Joy-Con.
Yeah.
All the other sports you can play with 1 Joy-Con. Apart from one of the modes in Chambara, you have to have 2, but most of them you can play with 1. So if you've only got 1 set of Joy-Cons and you want to play football with someone else, you can't. Yeah. If you want to play it with someone, like one other person, you have to have 2 sets of Joy-Cons. But I know most people do have more than 1 set of Joy-Cons.
Or a Pro Controller or whatever.
But I don't think you can play it with a Pro Controller.
Can you not?
You need the motion controls.
Oh, right.
So you might not be able to.
4 Joy-Cons,
4 Joy-Cons
to play 2-player on that.
And also, in order to play football online with someone else, and I don't know if this is for everything, but it made me do it for football specifically, you have to have your Switch docked and play in TV mode. You can't play it just like on the go in 2-player. So if you were playing like on the train, I don't know why you would play Switch Sports on the train, for example, or even if you're in like a hotel room or something, you can't play that unless it's docked and in TV mode, which is kind of weird. And like, I don't really know why you'd have to do that, especially with the Switch's whole thing is like play on the go.
Yeah,
Take
it does
it with
seem
you.
very limiting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hopefully that is not all.
Hopefully it's just limited to football, but specifically for that situation, you need to have it.
It's a bit of a shame.
Docked.
So there are some strange decisions in there. When you're bowling, I think the most egregious thing is if you throw the ball backwards, they don't all go, which is like, just one out of 10,
times.
right?
Yeah.
You've got to make them jump. Obviously, we're being facetious, though. And we're just highlighting things that you should probably know going into this game. Doesn't mean it's bad, though.
No.
You can get around all the games pretty fast. If you're playing on your own, there's not a lot there for you unless you're going to play online. If you're going to have some people over, and I'm looking forward to doing that at some point and just busting out Switch Sports and just messing around in like bowling and stuff, that is probably exactly what the game is designed for. There is one particular, is it Chambara, or we're probably mispronouncing Chambara, by the way. It's like Chambara or something. Like that. Or football that requires the use of a leg strap as well.
Oh yeah, there's one mode in football called like shootout that requires you to have a leg strap. It's the only thing I haven't done because we haven't got the leg strap yet.
No.
But yeah, it requires you to have a leg strap to do it. So I don't know why that one specific. It's the only mode in the game that I've found that requires you to have a leg strap. The rest, I haven't seen that anywhere. So yeah, it's weird, but you have to have a leg strap for that one specific mode.
You do.
If you don't have a leg strap, you can still play the rest of the game, so it's all good.
On the whole, though, it's colourful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's fun.
It's nice.
And sometimes the Wii Sports music plays
little
accents in like their music.
And
every time it plays, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Remember Wii Sports?
Remember Wii Sports?
That's good fun.
It has kind of made me want to play Wii Sports.
That's not necessarily a good thing, though, is it? Because you should want to keep playing Switch Sports.
Yeah, but I kind of want to play Wii Sports again.
Wii Sports instead.
But it's okay. It's good. It's a good game. If you liked Wii Sports, you'll like this, and you're looking for a game to just play with like your family.
Yeah.
That they used to really love Wii Sports. They'll like this. And then Nan can play it because I can play the whole thing sat down. So
that's perfect.
If Nan needs to sit down, she can use it one wrist. She'll be good.
Yeah. We're not sure if the easy difficulty is because they've genuinely made the games easier, or as you said, because the Joy-Cons they just work, as opposed to the Wiimotes, which didn't really. But it is extremely accessible, and I think it's available right now.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in having like a fun party game that everyone can jump in on, some games are only 2 players, but a number of them support up to 4 players, which obviously means you need more Joy-Cons. But it seems fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun game, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it. But there are a surprising amount of caveats and things that I didn't think would be an issue, but they kind of are.
And I also don't know how long you'd get out of it in a play session. Maybe like half an hour. We played it for 15 minutes together, and we were both like, okay, I get that's enough now.
I get it.
We're done now. But I think like obviously it depends on the situation. But I wouldn't say this game will fill an evening.
No. I don't think you get a full evening out of this. Absolutely not. Unless you're making your own bowling tournament brackets or whatever. But that's not supported in-game. You'd have to do that yourself on like a spreadsheet or something. But massive thank you to Nintendo for hooking us up with a code as well. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Nintendo Switch Sports.
Oh, yeah.
More like Nintendo Switch spoils sport, because when I win, everyone's going to get so grumpy that they're going to like smash my Joy-Cons and walk off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nintendo Switch Sports, more like Nintendo Wii Sports.
Yeah.
Almost. Kind of.
Full stop.
Full stop.
That's it.
Yeah.
And send tweet.
And
thank you
end.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.